Over here at assembly, we send our paperwork with each cabinet because it has information on here about which hinge to use, where to drill it, how many shelf pins we're going to need, a lot of information. There may be notes up here. So anyway, we tape the paperwork on the cabinet, and what we were doing before is the tape's down here in this drawer, so you'd have to open the drawer, get the tape out, find the end, pull it loose, tape it on, replace that, and close the drawer. Well, we realized that was wasteful, so we got this tape dispenser that will hold our painter's tape, put it right here at the end of the assembly table. So now when I'm done with the cabinet, all I have to do is this, and I can tape it on, and I don't have to replace it. Here in the office, we were having an issue with our Wi-Fi network, so we added this splitter, and we've wired everything to that. We also added a network attached storage down here so that all of our data is stored locally on that, and we're not having issues with the cloud. And one of the reasons for this specifically was the razor gauge here, and I'll go out and show you that, but we were having a problem exporting our cut list to that, and this has solved that problem. So now I'm over here at the razor gauge. One of the things we did is we added this arm with a stylus, so that when I come over to this, the way this works is you have the list that we can export from the office. So if I'm working on this cabinet here, I can choose that cabinet. And then if I'm working on the face frame, this is the beauty of this system. When I choose the part, it just goes to the length. And then we can hit part cut here, keeps track of our quantities left to cut, but there's no input error. This all comes directly from the office. So every time we choose a part, and if the part cut is not 0, if you start at the top here and you go through part cut, it cycles through automatically until we get through the face frame, and then we see that the parts are all cut. The next person can come up, and if they're working on the kitchenette cabinet 5, they can choose that cabinet, and then the same thing, they can go through here. So we can see on this, the face frame has not been cut. And just by touching the part size, it goes to the length. And so it's a really great system. It takes out the user input. We don't have to walk down and set a stop, but we're able to export all this through that Ethernet cable directly to the saw, and our cut lists are accurate, and the guys have really enjoyed it so far. We did some shop rearranging and put the drum sander over here with the face frame sanding table, so that when we come off of our face frame table, which is right here, we can come off of this and just walk straight down to the drum sander and then hand sand that, and then we send the carts with parts to Carcass over there. And so we rearrange the order in which we create parts, and in part of doing this, we had to do the dust collection. We were able to get the edge bander hooked up to dust collection on the auto blast gates, and so that's been a great addition. Over here at door assembly, this table used to be over here, so you'd put your door together and then you'd have to turn 180 degrees to the clamp to put the door together. Then we turn back around to the table to do our measurement, wipe the glue off. So we set the table here, and now we can put the door together here, just turn, and we're at our clamp table. We have our glue and our nails and our sander and everything we need right there. So we reduced our motion of turning by half, and it's much closer and more convenient to use. Here are our other saw gear. We added the stylus holder, which is just one of these little spring deals. So we have the stylus here that we can keep right with that and not have to find it. We also moved our drawer side material, our 1/2-inch plywood, over here when we build that style drawer box, and we've reduced walking all the way across the shop to that saw by moving the material over to here. And now we cut our drawer bottoms on this saw and our drawer sides on this saw, and it's much more convenient for that. We also moved the drawer assembly saw back to final assembly. I'll show you that in a second. So again, instead of zigzagging across the shop over to here where it was, now we cut all our pieces here and here and walk straight back to where we're going to be putting the drawer together, and we've reduced our motion and transportation. We also slid this saw to the left, which allows that arm to go behind our panel saw, and we freed up a bunch of floor space, which opened up the opportunity to put our drawer sides here. Over here at drawer assembly, you can see this is the cart we use to cut our parts for our drawer. Then we come to this saw to run our standard drawer joint on there, and it's hooked up to dust collection right here, and it's really close to final assembly, which is there because we don't put our drawer together until it needs to go in the cabinet. That way we don't have to store the drawer, we don't have the inventory to worry about damaging, and this has placed that much closer to where we need it. So we're trying to connect some of these processes, and again, we cut the pieces there, come straight to here, do that, straight to there to assemble the drawer, and then it goes straight in the cabinet and it's ready to go. Here at final assembly, this drill template used to sit inside right there with the drill so we could grab them both at one time, but it's hard to reach for some of our people, so that got moved to right there. So now it's still really close together, but when the drawer is in place, we can reach those pieces. We've also added a box here that we can keep some hinge screws and hinges in, and we refill those from the hinge bore, which is right over here. And so instead of having to go over there every time we're doing the cabinet, we can get a handful of hinges or a day's worth of hinges and put them over here, so that when we're putting our hinges back in the doors here for final assembly, we have all the parts we need where we need them. We made a home over here for our shelves because our goal is, while cabinets are in the drying process, the paperwork is right here, and we'll go ahead and make the shelves or the drawers or whatever we need right before they come out, and we needed a place to store them, so now we're able to store those right here. We also, on the end of the shelf, put the job name, the room, and the cabinet number, so again, we don't have to measure the shelf to know where it goes. We can just find the information there, put it in the cabinet, and everything is right here together. Another small improvement here at paint on these, added a whiteboard so that whatever cabinet this shelf is holding pieces for, we write the number here, and we don't have to wonder where those parts go. We just write it down and always have the information going with the pieces. Here in the bathroom, we finally added our knobs and handles. These weren't on here before. We've also started adding some labels so that you know what's in those drawers and we don't have to wonder. This tells us where we've got some of our refills behind there, so that if we need some supplies, they're there and we know where they are. We recently added more tonnage to our HVAC system in the shop itself, so these 3 wall units here were added. As you can see, we've got the filter boxes made for all 3 of them, but we're missing 3 filters there. I've got to get those ordered, and that's keeping the shop a lot more comfortable. It also dehumidifies the shop